Hi, my name's Rupert and I'm going to talk to you today about what to do if you suspect your password has been compromised. So it depends really what's just happened. It's most likely to be one of two things. Either you've clicked on something that is a bit suspicious, or you've ended up at a website that you weren't expecting to after clicking on a link in an email, or you're experiencing a problem with your computer, something that doesn't normally happen, that's a bit unexpected, examples of which might be lots of bounced emails coming back into your inbox, or conversely no emails at all, which is unusual, especially if you ask a colleague or send test emails or so on. You might get a password box pop up that doesn't normally happen, and I mean repeatedly. It was working 5 minutes ago and now it's just stopped all of a sudden. You may have some strange icons or toolbars appearing on your computer, or your file names, timestamps, last modified entries on files are updating on the computer when you haven't accessed them. So what are we going to do in these situations? I really hope that nobody's experiencing this kind of problem while they're reviewing this video, but the three actions that we're going to take in this order, please, are: number one, we're going to change passwords immediately; number two, tell your manager or IT support company, or both; and number three, we're then going to run through and check your system's accounts to check that everything else is in order. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change our password immediately. So even if you're not sure if there's been a compromise, if you clicked on something, if you perhaps typed in your password and you're not really sure if it was a legitimate place that you typed it in, the best action to take really quickly, just in case, is we're going to change that password. Now, if you can change the password to yourself, please do so. That might be your computer password, it might be a password to a cloud service such as Dropbox or Google Drive or Salesforce or Xero. It might be an email password for your actual mailbox, Office 365, G Suite, or even with your email, another email hosting company. But if you have access to change that password, do so straight away, now. If you can't do it yourself, you need to contact your IT support team, who should be able to do it for you. Now, it's really important when you do this that you explain, you're not just sending an email saying please reset my password. It's really important that you explain that there's a potential security breach and that you think that there may be a compromise on the account. If you're just doing it as a precaution, say that. If you're doing it because you've spotted a problem, say that. Be as clear and accurate as possible, and that will allow your IT company to prioritize doing it really urgently. As I popped up on the screen, timing here is critical, especially with email account compromises. The impact of a compromised mailbox, thousands and thousands of emails can be sent out in a matter of minutes. So the quicker we can take this action, the better, the safer, and hopefully any impact would be minimal. The second thing we're going to do kind of relates to the first, depending on if you've needed help from the IT support team to deal with that, but is to report the issue. Now, I put a really big sign above my head here saying keep calm and don't be embarrassed. I've dealt with lots and lots of security incidents over the years. The people that come forward come up and say, I just did this, I clicked on this, and I think maybe I shouldn't do. Can you have a look at it for me? 9 out of 10 of them, there was never any impact. There was never any problem, but all of them did the right thing by coming forwards. The people that click on things and then try and hide it ultimately cause more cost, stress and aggravation for everybody involved in the long run. So first and foremost, step up and say, I think I clicked on something I shouldn't have done. Could you please have a look at it for me? If you clicked on a link on a website or an email that ended up asking you for your password and you don't think it should have done, forward the whole email through to your IT team. That's the best way for them to investigate it really quickly. Often we'll find that people are reluctant to say that there's been a problem or are worried about coming forwards, whereas in actual fact we can very quickly say, yeah, no, we looked at it, that link was fine, or it was a legitimate link, or we've changed your password, but we checked your account, nobody else logged into it in the few minutes since the incident, and therefore there's nothing else to be concerned about. It was just a phishing email. If you don't tell us, it could be hours, weeks, days, months before an incident comes to light, in which case the implications of that could be a lot more severe. The last thing I'd say is do explain the sequence of events. Don't just say I need help or just please change my password. if you provide detail about what you did, the sequence of events that happened, what you clicked on, which computer you were on, which mailbox password you typed in, which cloud service you were logging into, whatever's happened, the more accurate you can be in telling us, the quicker it is for us as IT professionals to provide support, and ultimately the quicker we can come back to you with an all clear or the next steps. But again, I'd like to reiterate, please don't be embarrassed about it. Do speak up. Trust me when I say we've seen it all, we've heard it all before, but all we want ultimately is for you to be running safe on decent systems with good security, and we're here to help you achieve that in any situation. One word, if you are sending an email through to the support team, this is where you use the word urgent in your subject title. Use the phrase mailbox compromised or security issue or something like that. Don't just say reset password. Again, some companies will require a support ticket before they'll be able to act on anything for you. So this is a great place to provide information. I'd always recommend following up something this urgent with a phone call within a couple of minutes of sending the email support ticket, so that you can help the customer service people prioritize your job, make sure it gets in front of a technician at the earliest possible opportunity, because everybody involved wants you to be protected as quick as possible. So the third thing we're going to do is going to depend very much on the situation and severity of what's just happened, and a really important thing at this stage is that only you know what normal looks like on your computer in your account. The IT teams don't spend lots of time in front of every individual desktop, every individual workstation, computer, your folder structure, your mailbox. So if things have changed, that's a really good sign that that action is needed and it warrants investigation. So yeah, don't expect an IT guy, just because they're really good with computers, to know that something looks out of place on your desktop, or that new icons have appeared, or new software is installed on your computer or something necessarily. So the incident type is likely to determine the next steps here. If you've just, some examples, if you've just clicked on a phishing link trying to grab your password, and it happened within the last couple of minutes, you report it straight away. Changing your password and checking that nobody else has logged in is likely to be all that's needed at this stage. Simple process, could take just a couple of minutes. If you downloaded and installed some software on your system, for example, on your computer, we're probably going to go ahead and change that password as well and run some system scans, some traditional kind of antivirus, check what programs have been installed and accessed recently, that sort of thing. So again, relatively straightforward process. If you've actually had a business email compromise, a company email account that has been hacked into, then there's likely to be more things that are going to need to be done. We're likely to certainly start with password changes always. We're going to try and work out how the threat actor, the hacker, got in the first place, how they kind of phished you or got your details. We're going to need to check impact analysis and remediation. How many emails were sent? Who did they go to? What did they actually do with the information that they obtained? And then notification of anybody involved. So perhaps if your customers were emailed from your email account, we might need to send them a follow-up email, or we might need you to send them a follow-up email explaining the situation. There's also potential kind of legal and regulatory requirements for reporting of breaches and so on. So at this stage, it's very much done on a case-by-case basis. The important thing is that we identify what's going on, what's happened as quickly as we can, and obviously do our best to stop it early, and then learn and implement a plan accordingly. So talking of plans, I'd actually prefer us to be having this conversation before an incident, and would strongly encourage all company owners to have a conversation with your teams. This is I know it's not a thrilling topic, but it's a really important topic to bring up at team meetings from a training point of view. Talk about phishing emails, define what normal looks like within your organisation, which software do you guys use, and what is the default software that's installed on all of your computers. Print out posters on the staff board, things for people to read and so on. Give examples of what could happen and what impact it might have if, for example, your financial director's email account got got compromised, and the hacker could see the emails and the invoices going out to all your customers. And also, it's really important to turn an incident or even a near miss into a learning opportunity. We've had some great results with companies where somebody spotted something, they've shared it with the team, and kind of improved the education and awareness for everybody in that team to be a bit more vigilant. Lastly, again, this is aimed at the company directors, managers. It's really important in this environment to try and create a no-blame culture and to praise people for coming forwards. Trust me when I say I've seen it done both ways, and environments where people are able to come forward, be open in the event of an issue, ask questions, and ultimately get on top of it, get ahead of an issue before it becomes a problem, are always far easier, cheaper, more cost effective, less stressful for everybody involved than situations where there's been a breach, we've got no data to work on, nobody knows what happened, could have been days, weeks, months ago that the infiltration happened, and that adds a lot of stress and ultimately a lot of cost to the business dealing with that sort of situation. So, as Sir Winston Churchill says, he who fails to plan is planning to fail. Let's come up with a plan. What would your company do in the event of a password breach or a suspected password, compromised password within your organisation? Doesn't matter where in the company it is, the process is the same. But let's get a plan in place before the incident occurs. So I really hope you found this video useful. This is one in a series of tips that we're releasing specifically around the topic of cybersecurity. If you think of anybody else, any other company owners that may benefit from it, please do share it with them, and you can subscribe to our site for additional tips and notifications when we release more related videos below. So I hope you enjoy it and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.